Hello WGT players, Clint here. And in this video I'm going to show you how I mapped my 64 loft wedge. In my previous video I talked about how to learn your club's actual distance, where I said I would do a separate video for just the 64-degree loft wedge. And I'll have a link to the video about learning your clubs down in the description box. And the reason I didn't talk about the 64 loft wedges in the past video is because I went into more detail in mapping that club. I just didn't do the full swings like I did in the previous mapping on the other clubs. And I'll show you here, I got a pretty good wind here. You will still want to have a good light wind. I got this on my first try, just 1 mile an hour. It's not as important as the actual full distance swings on your other clubs, but you probably want to get something below 3 miles an hour. 1 mile an hour would be just perfect. And on the 64 wedge loft club here, see I've got, I'll get in this real quick, I've used 3 loft wedges, 56 degree, 60 degree, and 64 degree. And to do that I had to drop my 3 hybrid, which between my 3 iron and my 3 wood, I really didn't need my hybrid, and I felt that having 3 loft wedges was more important, especially the 64. If you just love your hybrid and just don't want to depart with it, you'll still want to have your 64. Then you'll have to decide you want to drop your 56 or your 60. But you definitely want to have your 64, because anything within 60 to 63 yards, you'll be using that bad boy, and you will be getting close to the hole on every shot. And on the mapping of the 64 loft wedge, like here you see I've got the full shots, flops, and my sand shots. This is all 64 wedge. And on the full shots, as you see, I did starting at 45%, every 5%. And I did full top, which is full top swing, 4 up, flat, 4 back, and full back. And I'll explain what that is here in a second if you don't know. And on the flops, I'll get in that also. As you see, I stopped at 20, 19 yards on the full shots, because anything from 20 yards and shorter, I'll go to flops, because my full flop at 100% is 20 yards. So anything under at 20 or under, I'll flop. Anything from 21 to 63, I'll use the full shot of my 64 wedge. And basically the same thing on the learning your clubs is the same as the last video. You just hit them. I can tell you right now, I'm going to go back here real quick. As you can tell on the anything on the full top, well, let me explain this real quick. The 54/0, that means it went 54 yards, 9%, and it stopped. It didn't move or anything. And here on the 51 or 85% went 51 yards, but it rolled 2 yards to get to that 51. So actually it landed at 49 and rolled 2 yards. That's very important to know, because if you get into details where you're going to shoot onto a green that is sloped up or sloped down, you want to know how much of a roll that it got to know which one you'll use, because you got 51 that rolled 2 yards to get there at 85% on full top. You got 51 here flat where it went back 2 yards at 90%. So of course if you're going uphill, you will not want to use this one, because you know it rolls back. If that sucker rolled back, will probably roll back instead of 2 yards, maybe 5 or 6 yards. So if you're going up a slope, or the hole on the green is upslope, you want to go ahead and use full top, because it rolled 2 yards to get there, and it should not roll back. It might even actually stop where it lands. And then on the flip side, if you're going downhill, you want to use this one here because it's flat, and because on this one here it might not roll as far on the full top. But that's getting nitpicky, but that's what you want to know, what it does, what it carries, and what it does after it lands to make the full 51. So I did it that way. But anything from, well, as you can tell here, from 90 up, you don't do nothing but full top. You wouldn't want to do any backspins on anything above probably 75%, because that went back 5 yards to make 34, that went back 7 yards to make 35, and so on and so on. So that's up to you. I went ahead and just did everything to get an idea, because I didn't know, there wasn't nobody telling me, hey, it does this or does that. So I care 100% full back, it rolled back 12 yards. I actually landed 58 yards and rolled back 12 yards. So that's up to you how far you want to go. Just leave that up to your decision. But basically, like I said, you'll just basically hit the ball. Like I'll do, see, 60, my left loft wedge at 64 wedge is 60 yards. So it's pretty simple. You've got full top spin is all the way up. Full back is all the way down. Then, of course, what I called half top or 4 up is just 4 clicks up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And half back is 4 clicks back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what it means by full top, full back, half top, half back. But we'll hit this 100% at 60 yards at full top. And you'll want to try to find I know it's hard to do, but this is once again Kiowa, hole 1. It's a pretty flat green, and it's flatter back here in this area than up here. So as you start out at 100%, and as you get closer and closer, you of course want to tip your ball up to get a little closer, so you can stay in this area right here as much as possible. Because you get down here, like there's a slope right here, you'll probably get 5 or 6 or 7 more yards backspin than what you normally would, because it slopes down right here. So you want to try to keep it up here somewhere. If you have to, get over here doing like your, 50%ers, So you want to try to stay in the same area as the flattest part of the green. So I'll put that right there, got a full top. See if I can get it close to a ding. And not real close. See, 63, right there, 63, and it stopped. And you see how far I misdinged? Now, the misding is not as important on doing these, it's such a short shot. Of course, as long as there's no wind. But you still want to try to get as close to a ding as you possibly can. You don't have to be perfect, but within, I would say probably, I probably want to get no further away than there or right there on the inside of the ding to get a good accurate. And remember to change your club. I do that so many times. I can't hit the ding this morning. But still at 63 yards, as far off as I was, but there's no wind. But basically you just do that. And then after you do it flat, after you do it full top, you go 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get back to the good part of the green. Change your club. Man, I'm stopping at the same time every time. Okay, that was 61 yards, but it rolled back 1. But anyhow, you want to do that. Like I said, you want to go as far as you want. We'll do one flat. A little closer that time. And flat, 58 2 back. Well, 61 3 back. So it's probably because I misdinged it. But that's how I learned my clubs on my 64, or the lengths on my 64 wedge. And the reason I got into more detail is because I call my 64 wedge my dart, because I can get, like I said, if I'm not within 3 foot of a hole, if I'm 60 yards away or closer, I consider that a bad shot. because you should be able to get real close on your 64 wedge. Now I'll go into flops. And one thing about flops, let me get this up a little closer. Let's see, I'm 55 yards away. I'm about right there, something like that. I get about 50 yards. I am stopping that exact same stall every time. Okay, on your flops. Let's change the flop. There's two different ways you can do a flop. There's like Ford owners and Chevrolet owners. You know, one hates the other, and one swears by what they got. But I swear on the not hitting the flop line. The flop line is this first line here. Whenever you bring it out, see how that line right there moves? Okay, well, you would stop it at this line. That's called the flop line. I don't do it that way. I go ahead and try to ding it, and what I do is every 10 yards, I move it over one square to the left. Because every time you flop, the ball will always go to the right. So I'll move it to the left, depending on the wind. I say that because I was saying a couple of days ago on St. Andrews, like 21 mile an hour straight right to left winds. And I think my flop was 11, 12 yards, something like that. Well, I didn't move my marker. I kept right there in the flag, and I hold that sucker because the wind blew it over, so it didn't allow the ball to go to the right. So I left it in the hole. But basically, it's about 1 square per 10 yards. Now I've got a 17-yard flop. So if it's 1 square per 10 yards, so of course, you know, half square would be 5 yards, 1.5 would be 15, of course 2 would be 10. So actually, probably somewhere right there. But I'm going to go ahead and move it over 2 squares because I don't want to make this shot. Sorry on that, there we go. But basically, real quick, what I did was I've got full or flop halfback, which is 4 clicks down. And I've got flops at fullback, which is full backspin. And I started at, I started 100% and went down, like I said, to as far as I thought. I mean, anything under 5 yards, I want to chip or pitch. So I don't need to worry about having flops, you know, under 5 yards. But I went that far, just curiosity. I just basically went 100%, half back, see how far it went. Went 20 yards, and to get there, it rolled 1 yard. So basically it landed 19 yards and rolled 1 yard. 100% fullback. It went 18 yards, but it rolled back 1 yard to get there. So it basically, same thing, it went 19 yards and rolled backwards. And this is the same thing about what I was talking about over here. If you have two distances between here and here, and one of them's plus, the other one's minus, or one of them is, I'm trying to find one. Well, here's a 14 and a 14. See, halfback went 14 yards, but it rolled 4 to get there. So basically, it landed 10, rolled 4, and this one only rolled 2. So this one went 2, it rolled 2. So you need to look at that if you have a slope going up or going down. Do you want to have one that rolled 4 yards to get there, or one that rolled 2 yards to get there? So that's what you need to look at too on this here. But basically, I just did that. 100% halfback, fullback. 95% halfback, fullback, so on and so on. Of course, I went all the way down to 45%. But on this here, so we got 17 yards. I moved over just a little bit too far, so I wouldn't make it. So I go here, okay, 17 yards. I got 17 right here. I got 17 right here. Now you're going to see this sometimes. It depends on the roll and different things like that. So I got 17 yards. We got rolled 2 yards to get there. I got 17 yards, which rolled 3 yards to get there. So this one went 15, this one went 14. Of course, you want to look at the green. Of course, this is a pretty flat green, so it's not really anything major. So I'd probably go on the one that went the least amount of distance. So I'd probably go 90% at halfback. So you'll have back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 90%. There you go. Now, if I would have had that where I was supposed to be in, that sucker went in the hole. I just didn't want to do that because I didn't want to lose my spot here. Because where I did that, instead of moving it about right there is where I said, I moved it over here. And it landed about right there. No, I don't want no ball. Okay, that is your flops. Like I said, you can either try it either way. Personally, I like it by going 1 square for 10 yards. I've tried it the other way using the flop line, but it just didn't work right for me. I like the better, have everything consistent. The same. I always try to hit the ding, so I just use the squares instead of the flop line. Okay. Okay, now for sand bunkers with my 64 wedge. On Pebble Beach, hole 1, I don't do Kiowa because Kiowa really don't have really good bunkers to really get your shots on, because you want 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70. A lot of Kiowa bunkers are 25, 30, 20, 25. So I just went to Pebble Beach, hole 1, and this thing is right. If you go directly this direction, you'll see the tee box. So you just hit it right here. And the wind's not as important here. So you'll still want to go into practice mode, choose light winds. You really don't want anything that's over 6, 7, or 7 miles an hour. With Pebble Beach, it took me about 7 or 8 tries to get, 5-mile-an-hour winds. Pebble Beach, to them, light winds is 10 miles an hour. So it took a few to get something this light. So if you can get anything under 6 miles an hour, take it. But anyway, same thing. And also you want to get as close to the edge of the sand or the green or fairway, whatever, as you possibly can. And you're basically going to be doing the same thing. All of your hits will be, of course, full backspin. See right here, I'm in 50-60. And I don't have 50-60 up here. I've got 40-50 and 60-70. But you'll just start hitting 100%. Well, 100% I go further than that. Let me go here. So you hit it 100%. And what you want to do on this one is, you see I don't have any, how much did it carry or backspin or anything, because if you've got any bunkers around the green, you know that thing's going to roll and roll and roll and roll. So only thing I'm worried about is what's the actual carry. Okay, so like the actual carry was 33 yards. Okay, and 50-60. Yeah, 50-60 sand. So that's all you're worried about, because you want to know how long or how far that ball is going to be in there before it lands. And I'll tell you why you want to do that. Like I said, if you're on the green, you're not going to get no stoppage. So once it lands, it's going to roll for a while. So most of the greens, you want to get far enough to where you at least land on the green and not back in the sand trap or in the gooey stuff outside the sand trap. You want to land on the actual green. So you'll know whenever you're at a sand trap next to a green, you'll just move your flags to say, right here's the end of the green. This is the green right here, let's just say. And right here's the end of it. So this tells me I got to hit at least 13 yards to get to the very edge of the green. I don't care if the hole's here or where the hole is, how far the hole is. I'm interested in how far I got, or how hard I got to hit the ball to get to the edge of the green. So I have to get 13 to get to the edge of the green. Okay, so I look on my thing here, say, okay, 13, well, 50-60, which I don't have, so I will probably go ahead and go 60-70, go up. So I want to hit it at least 65%, but let me get to, there we go. But I'm at 50-60 instead of 60-70, so I'll probably go down to 60%, okay, to get at least that 13 yards. let's see if my theory works. Let's go 60%. Oh, let's change gloves first. See, I just made it. Just made it on the green. Went 13 yards. Exactly. So my theory worked. But that's why you want to worry about just the carry on sand traps next to the green. Now let me give you a little example of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can, let's see here. This one probably be easier to hit. 102. Oh, well, let me show you. Once you get, okay, say I'm done with the 50-60%. All you got to do is just hit it anywhere on the sand, you know, close again once to the edge. You don't want to hit it back here. You know, somewhere close to the edge. I hit that too hard. I'll try it again. Oh, there's a flop. I'll do that. I mean, you just want to move the ball. I mean, that's all you want to do. Okay. See, now I'm in 30-40. So I can go up here and, okay, 30-40. I'll start doing that, you know, every time. You know, mulligan, hit it again, mulligan, hit it again. So you just got to move the ball around somewhere on the, to get, you know, another percentage. Don't have to worry about how hard you hit it, just to move it. Okay, and then there's 40-50. So now you can start doing 40-50. So just keep doing that until you get all the percentages that you want to. And now to go back to where I was talking about earlier, I'll go ahead and get this out of here. See if I can get it one sand bunker to the other. How many times have we done that playing this daggum game? Yeah, I might be able to hit it full. Let's see how far I'll go. Hey, I hit a ding. Like in one bunker and out the other. Okay. 59, I don't know what that is. Good old 64 wedge. About that much. Should get me there. Alrighty. Okay, now I'm in 60-70. Okay, I found out that you'll have to think about, are you in a sand trap that is level with the green? Are you in a sand trap that's elevated to the green? Are you in a sand trap where you got this humongous hump you got to get over? You know, you got to think about all that stuff. So like I said, you want to put, okay, I've got 5 yards to get to the green. Okay, so I need to extend this at least 5 yards. And I just know this by personal, it slopes downhill here. So I probably actually aim it up here, because when it rolls, you know, if it goes this way, it might roll, you know, towards the hole. But you know you need to go at least 5 yards. But you've also got this hump here. And I made it a personal rule that I never go below 45% full shot if there's something in my way. Okay? Because believe me, it doesn't matter how much you try to nitpick. Okay, it's 5 yards, it's probably about 6 foot up, blah, blah, blah. That ball's going to roll. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. But the best thing to do is to get out of the green, or out of the sand onto the green, instead of out of the sand onto the rough, or out of the sand back in the sand. I mean, the best thing to do is get on the green. So anyway, I would look here, 5 yards. I'm in 60-70. And to get 5 yards, I had to hit it 40%. Okay? But then I go to my rule. Well, actually, I probably don't even want to go 45% might not even be enough because let's see, it is 6 feet up. I mean, I'm 6'1", so that's my length of me. So I would probably want to go at least 50% because of that height. Let me see here. Yep. So see how it rolls, and see I had it up here instead of having it here. I had it there. Morgan. See, so instead of putting it here, since I knew that it rolled downhill, I wanted to put it up here that would roll. So, you know, things like that you just got to work on, practice, and figure things out. So that's pretty much working on your sand traps on a 64 wedge. So, you know, get on, like I said, Pebble Beach, and get that first sand trap there that's directly in front of the tee box, and knock it around to get, you know, 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70, and the 50, 60, which I don't have. Just, you know, whichever one you want. And on the sand, worry about just the carry. Don't worry about the roll, because the roll is going to be a lot more on the green than what it is on the fairway. Okay? Well, I do appreciate you listening and watching my video, and I'll